You know, when we think about heart problems, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably chest pain, right? Like something straight out of a movie. But what if I told you that some of the earliest, most subtle warnings, they don't show up in your chest at all? Nope. They actually appear much, much further away.
And that's really the whole idea we're going to dig into. Just think about it. Your hands and feet are like the canaries in the coal mine for your circulatory health, because they're the furthest places from your heart. They're usually the very first places to show signs that the main engine might be struggling. So the big question is, how do we actually decode these messages? Let's jump right in and look at the specific signals your hands and feet might be sending you and what they could be saying about your heart.
Okay, to really get a grip on these signals, it helps to imagine your circulatory system as this huge, sprawling transportation network, right? Your heart is the central power station, and it's pumping all the essential supplies through this massive system of highways, which are, of course, your arteries and veins. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Your hands and feet, they're basically the most remote outposts on this entire network. So, any drop in pressure, any kind of blockage on those main roads, or any problem at the power station, well, it's going to be felt there first. It's just basic logistics, right? The end of the line always feels a supply chain problem long before the central hub does.
Okay, so what exactly are these red flags we should be looking for at these terminals? Well, they pretty much fall into three main buckets. Things you can feel, things you can see, and problems that kind of creep up over time. All right, this first group is all about things you can physically feel. We're talking changes in temperature or direct sensations like pain or tingling. Now, these are often the easiest ones for us to notice, but, and this is the important part, they're also the easiest ones to just brush off.
Okay, let's break these down one by one. First up, persistent coldness. And I'm not just talking about needing warmer socks. This can be a real sign that the central pump, your heart, isn't strong enough to push warm blood all the way out to your fingertips and toes. Then you've got that numbness or pins and needles feeling. What's that about? Well, that can happen when the highways themselves, your blood vessels, start to stiffen up, and that reduces the flow of oxygen. Next, there's something called claudication. This is a super specific ache you get in your legs when you're walking, but it goes away when you rest. It's a classic signal that your arteries are just too narrow to get your muscles the extra fuel they're screaming for. And finally, those awful leg cramps at night, that could literally be your arteries, all stiff and inflexible, fighting against your blood pressure while you're trying to sleep. It's a direct signal of major strain on the system.
So, moving on from what you can feel, there are also signals you can actually see. These visual clues can give you a pretty clear window into what's going on with your circulation.
Swelling, or edema, is a really big one. So what happens is, when your blood flow slows down, pressure can build up and actually force fluid out of the blood vessels and into the tissues around your ankles, feet, or even your hands. Another major visual clue is a change in skin color. The technical term is cyanosis. If you see a bluish tint on your fingers or toes, that's a sign there's not enough oxygen in your blood. And you can often see this exact same thing right under your fingernails. A blue or grayish color there? That's a textbook sign of poor circulation.
Okay, our final group covers the more persistent, long-term stuff. And these are tricky because these chronic issues often get mistaken for just, getting older or being tired, but they can be incredibly important signals from your cardiovascular system.
For instance, if you have sores or ulcers on your legs that just will not heal, that is a serious, serious red flag. It's often caused by something called venous insufficiency, which is when blood just pools in your lower legs, and it stops your body from being able to repair itself properly. And what about that constant feeling of heavy, tired legs? Sure, it could be a lot of things, but it often points to a circulatory system that's under a ton of strain, really struggling to get oxygen where it needs to go and clear out all the junk.
So we've gone over the signals, now let's get into the why. What's actually causing these roadblocks in our transportation network? It usually boils down to two main culprits.
The first one, and probably the one you've heard of, is atherosclerosis. This is basically the hardening and narrowing of your arteries. Just go back to that highway metaphor. Imagine the main roads getting all clogged up with fatty deposits, almost like they're developing potholes and blockages. This, of course, slows down the flow of blood and causes all sorts of problems, from that pain when you walk to the coldness in your hands and feet.
The second one is venous insufficiency. And if atherosclerosis is a problem with the delivery routes, this is a problem with the return routes. Think about it. Your veins have to fight gravity to get blood all the way from your legs back up to your heart. When they start to struggle with that job, blood can pool down there, causing these massive traffic jams that lead to swelling, heavy legs, and even those really stubborn ulcers.
But here's the good news, okay? You are absolutely not helpless here.
There are really powerful, proactive steps you can take to support your heart and keep this entire transportation network running smoothly for a long, long time.
It really all boils down to 3 key things. First, you've got to optimize your diet. That gives your body the right materials to maintain the highways. Second, you got to stay active. That keeps the central pump, your heart, strong and helps keep the pathways clear. And third, proper hydration. This makes sure the traffic itself, your blood, is flowing nice and smoothly.
And when we talk about diet, we can get super specific. For example, foods like garlic, onions, and beetroot are amazing because they help your body produce something called nitric oxide. This is a gas that literally relaxes and widens your blood vessels. It's like instantly opening up a few extra lanes on the highway. And then you have omega-3s. You find those in things like salmon and walnuts, and they improve the flexibility of the blood vessels themselves, which makes them way less likely to get damaged.
So, we've covered a lot, right? The signs, the causes, the solutions. But when you boil it all down, it comes back to one simple, powerful idea. You just have to pay attention. Your body is talking to you constantly. The trick is learning to speak its language.
Here's the most important takeaway from all of this. Your body is constantly sending you information. That persistent cold in your feet, those cramps at night, that bit of swelling in your ankles. These are not just minor annoyances. They are specific messages from your body's transportation network. And your only job is to listen.
And of course, listening also means taking action. Now, just to be super clear, this is all about awareness, not about diagnosing yourself. If any of these signs sound familiar and they're persistent, the single most important thing you can do is talk to a healthcare professional. Please, do not ignore the signals your body is sending you.
And that pretty much wraps it up, so I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. After everything we've just talked about, what is one signal from your own body that you're going to start paying a little more attention to?